Oh, it's been so long,
Yes.
man. What's up, man?
I mean, you know,
Lot going on these days.
no, yeah. Well, there wasn't
Until it was.
That's why we haven't been on in a while. I didn't feel like talking about Nuggets heat. Congratulations to the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
But y'all got to stop saying, man, Charlotte just do what Denver did.
Because it's that easy.
Yeah, you know? Just draft Nikola Jokic.
That's it. Just find an MVP at the 27 pick, and we're good. Yeah. That's it. Yep.
Just do that. Be careful what you wish for. That's the theme of today's show. Be careful for what you wish for.
You're not celebrating in the streets today, man. You're
not throwing a parade.
You're not going downtown throwing a parade. You're not doing that today.
Not doing that
because the news is supposed to be so exciting. Like we're, just waving magic wand and we're here. We're good now, right?
A very old phrase, a cliche that we're all familiar with, called that says "out of the frying pan and into the fire."
I couldn't have said it better.
And sometimes I think you don't realize
how hot that fire is.
How hot the fire is. If y'all don't know what we're talking about,
you must have been under a rock.
Yeah. Michael Jordan, reports say that Michael Jordan is finalizing the deal to sell the Charlotte Hornets to Gabe Plotkin and Rick Schnell, who are currently minority owners of
and very rich guys.
Yeah, of the Charlotte. Both. Well, Plotkin is a hedge fund manager. I don't know. I don't think Schnell was a hedge fund manager.
I'm not sure. Details about Schnell are really tight. Like, yeah. I think he's a very private guy, man.
Gabe Plotkin, not so private. He was at the center of the GameStop stock hedge fund controversy a few years ago.
With Robin Hood.
Yes, with Robin. We'll talk about that briefly in a little bit. Also,
Reddit called him an economic terrorist.
Woo. Yeah,
really excited about that one. Yeah.
Hey, we got J. Cole though.
According to Twitter, J. Cole is going to bring us to free agents. I'm sorry, man.
This is what it's come to.
Let me try my best to reel my sarcasm in today because it's so much.
I'm gonna let it all.
Okay, cool. Well,
yeah,
it's a lot to talk about today.
Yeah,
man.
So Michael Jordan is selling his majority share. Let's set some facts up. He's selling his majority share for $3 billion ish. So
call it what you want to. That sounds like a win to me, buddy.
So what that means is that he retains 49% of the team. The 51% will go to Plotkin, Schnell, J. Cole, another major investor, and other minor investors in the team.
Like J. Cole.
Like J. Cole is probably a very, very minor investor. Kind of like Jay-Z was with, Jay-Z owned the Nets. Jay-Z owned like 0.5% of the Nets. J. Cole will probably be somewhere in that range, and he'll be a name attached to it. Fact number 2 is that Michael Jordan will retain control of the team until the board approves the sale and the NBA approves the sale, which won't be for some months, probably right before the beginning of the season. That means that Michael Jordan will still continue to be the owner of the Charlotte Hornets throughout the draft and the free agency period in most of the off season. We talked about, by the way, shout out to Hive Hoops podcast. We were just on there. Be on the lookout for that episode. We give our thoughts about that. But in general, we were more disappointed in Jordan's decision to sell the team.
How could you be disappointed? Yeah. It's been 13 years of failure, Kaiser.
Only because...
How can you be disappointed today?
When the Charlotte Hornets are good, probably the next 2 seasons, the narrative will be, see, all it took was for Michael Jordan to sell the team. Even though it's going to be pretty much his team.
Right.
His core.
Right.
And he won't be there for that redemption.
Which is what I wanted.
Yes.
That's why I was disappointed. And for anybody who follows us on Twitter, I put out a tweet and I was basically saying that, this is not verbatim, but I was disappointed in Michael selling, only because I felt like, a guy that I watched growing up never gave up on anything basketball related. And there was a part of me that thinks Michael was just kind of giving up. Now, there's context to this, obviously, right? There's a lot of context between all of that. And when I say giving up, I more so need to kind of state how probably exacerbated he was with this whole process. He's probably more fed up than anything. You know what I mean? But I guess the latter part of that statement was me saying I wanted the Hornets to turn it around with Michael Jordan because I wanted the redemption story. You understand what I mean?
By the way, Michael Jordan, he does not care about winning. Queen City Hornets.
Of course, the most competitive guy ever doesn't care about
sarcasm, by the way. Okay, we know Queen City Hornets. But yeah, that's one of those. There were a lot of weird narratives about Michael Jordan as an owner. You could concede that as a front office executive, he was not good. He wasn't that good at evaluating talent because that's really hard to do in the NBA, honestly. And I think it's harder to do as a player, especially if you're the best player ever, because your standard is going to be much higher than everyone else's. As an owner, though, here's where it gets kind of murky. First of all, Michael Jordan brought the Hornets name back, which was
it paid money to do so.
Yes, that was a great thing.
Right.
I think that him just being the owner brought a degree of sometimes negative relevance to the team.
Right.
And some of y'all do not remember what the Bob Johnson era was like. Now, Michael Jordan was a front office executive during that time, but Bob Johnson was objectively a much worse owner than Michael Jordan.
It's not even objective. It was clear. It was clear.
So I say that to say that if you look at, we talked about this on High Hoops, fans have to stop conflating the Mitch Kupchak era with the Rich Cho era of Michael Jordan's ownership.
I feel like they co-join them a lot, which is unfair.
Yes. Swag. I can certainly see that.
What's that?
The team struggles next year are going to be people that say MJ needs to sell all his shares. Man, see, he probably still. No, that's not how it works.
Funny but true.
Yeah. So, if you recall the Rich Cho era, and let's be fair about the Rich Cho era, everyone actually lauded Jordan for that hire.
That was a good idea at the time, right?
Yeah.
Well, didn't everybody love that hire at that
Michael
time?
Michael Jordan hired young hotshot GM Richard Cho, who was one of the front office guys who built
OKC,
built Seattle OKC, Kevin Durant,
Harden,
Westbrook.
Yep.
We got him on Charlotte. We were excited. Everyone was excited about that.
Right.
And then we drafted MKG, Cody Zeller, Noah Vonleh, and Frank Kaminsky back to back. Okay. So that didn't work out.
Right.
So what does Jordan do? What did he do?
What any owner would do. Any owner would have done. Fire the GM and try it again.
Fire the GM. Fired the guy who was making all the decisions, even though Jordan might have had his hand in some of the decisions. Mitch Kupchak comes in, and I bet we don't know what went on in that conversation, but I bet that Mitch Kupchak was like, "Look, Mike, if you got me here, it's my way or the highway. I make all the decisions. I'm the GM. That's how I did it in LA." Mike says, "Okay, you know what? I trust you because I didn't trust anybody else.
Right.
But I trust you because you're Mitch Kupchak. We're friends. You're Tar Heel." And now look what Mitch Kupchak has done with mid-range and lottery picks. His only real miss is James Bouknight. And that's not even that big of a miss. The jury's still out on James Bouknight.
Yeah.
But
I do think he's done here, but jury's still
Miles Bridges, pretty good, right?
Yep.
Pretty good.
Yep.
LaMelo Ball, I think he's pretty good.
PJ Washington,
pretty good.
And
Mark Williams.
And you got to look at where these guys were picked.
Exactly.
That let's not, let's not understate that. Mark Williams at that spot, I can't beat that. And his second round picks have been even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Nick Richards, I could go on about the second round picks, man.
So it's weird that people are still like, well, Joshua on High Hoops podcast did say this. There was a little glimmer of success in the Rich Show era.
Yeah.
Two playoff appearances.
Right.
We pushed the Heat to 7 games and lost. We haven't seen that during the Mitch era.
And I'm going to say the same thing that I said on the High Foods podcast in that regard. When we took the Heat to 7 games, it was kind of false hope. And I said that because that team was cap strapped. You have, in that Rich Cho era, that particular team, that team wasn't successful because of draft picks outside of Kemba Walker.
Yeah.
That team was successful because of free agency pickups.
It was. Jeremy Lin, Courtney Lee,
Al Jefferson.
Yep.
That's why that team was successful, not because they drafted well, okay? So what that
Wait, but hold on.
I know what you're going to say.
That's not the way to build a successful team, right? And the Hornets can't get free agents. Jamal?
Hey, man, we just talk facts here, sir. But, however, when you do build a team that way, you get yourself in cap trouble, right? Al Jefferson's on his way out. Can't pay that dude $10 million a year if he's literally playing on one leg. Can't pay Jeremy Lin $17 million a year. Can't pay Courtney Lee $17 million a year. You can't do that because now you're cap strapped.
Yep.
I'm saying all that to say that Rich Cho led team didn't have a direction. Why are we bringing this up, people? Because if you compare this to the Mitch Kupchak era with a lot younger roster, the directions look completely different, right?
Yep.
Right? But here's what happens, Kaza. If you have an offseason like last season where everything that could go wrong went wrong. Now, people said, look, I was told I'm making excuses. I was told that the Hornets were supposed to overcome Miles Bridges not playing at all, LaMelo Ball missing 50-some-odd games, Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward both missing significant amount of time, Kelly Oubre missing a significant. I was told that the Hornets were supposed to just overcome all of that.
By the way, we had a makeshift last-minute coach.
That part, I was told that the Hornets were supposed to just, hey, other teams make it work. How come the Hornets just can't overcome all of that? I was told I was making excuses for the Hornets, right?
So the Hornets are supposed to be good with all the best.
So the Hornets were supposed to be good last season, despite all of that. Why am I bringing this up? Because if some of that goes right, I don't know if we're here today. I truly don't. Yep. I don't know if we're here today. Oh, by the way, we missed out on another generational talent in the draft lottery. Just to throw that in it. So yeah.
Hornets fans, I think back to 2016. Which team would you rather have right now? In this moment of space and time, the team that we have potentially next year, or that team that took Miami to 7 games?
The team that took Miami to 7 games were not. That team was never built to last beyond a season.
It wasn't.
However, we're talking about Michael Jordan's ownership, right?
Yep.
And who he hires, and he's supposed to be the end all be all to the Hornets, right? It's his fault he hired Rich Cho, right? Doesn't he deserve criticism for ultimately hiring Rich Cho?
That's true,
right? Even though it was a good idea to begin with, right?
Yep.
Just correct me wherever I'm wrong, y'all. Just hey.
No, I mean,
we want your feedback.
It starts from the top down, right? but that's what the narrative is. If a business is failing,
you blame the guy at the top.
Yep. So here's the thing. I think some of the criticism towards Michael Jordan is very fair.
Yeah.
Same. I think some of it is exaggerated because it's Michael Jordan.
But I also believe a lot of it is sensationalized bullshit too.
Of course it is.
I totally believe that.
Of course it is.
And that's what annoys me so much about that. I feel like
owners in pro sports get way too much credit
or blame
for how good or bad a team is. Way too much.
And this is something our brother Vince used to always say, man. If his name is not Michael Jordan, we're not having these discussions all the time. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah, not even talking about that. So having said that, I just Michael Jordan is 60 something years old.
Yeah.
He's not like any other owner in professional sports in the history of professional sports. He's Michael Jordan. He probably got a meeting every 5 minutes. He runs also the 2311 NASCAR team, which is not doing terrible right now. And this is a time where
really good time to own a NASCAR team.
Yep, NASCAR's making a big global push to change their brand and image around. This is a great time to own a NASCAR team that looks like it might be successful. I jokingly said this in the Hornets group, but Michael Jordan will win a NASCAR championship, a Cup Series championship, before the Hornets even make it past the second round. And I said that half jokingly because realistically, that's probably what will happen. So, $3 billion, 49% ownership. You don't get that criticism anymore. You still get to have success in another medium. Michael Jordan, he's okay. He'll be okay.
Yeah, and we brought this up on the Hive Hoops pod, man. And I'm going to use this example again. I want everybody out there to, if you can, remember the game against the Orlando Magic where I guess some photographer caught a shot of Michael Jordan sitting on the bench, and his face said, "I have had enough." And in the 35 years I've watched Michael Jordan, I've never, ever, ever seen him look like that defeated before. And if one look could tell the whole story, that look did it for me. That look told me I can't take this anymore. Because regardless of any narrative, regardless of what is true, regardless of what he did or did not do as an owner, here's the one thing you can't argue. Michael Jordan, he can't control players ultimately. He can't control what players do on the floor. He may have control over what players he picks and what players are on his roster, but he ultimately cannot control player behavior. And I think the behavior that he saw in that game was a microcosm of what he saw of them as a team. Here's what I mean by that. All the maturity issues, all the stuff that's went on with the Hornets players for the last 2 off seasons. You couple that with him being at a game and seeing that, these guys, I don't think these guys love basketball. You can't be around Michael Jordan and not love basketball. You understand what I'm saying? So that's a bad mix. And I think he had enough, man. I think he had enough for taking blame for that stuff. When ultimately he can't control that.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So I hope Michael Jordan enjoys his $3 billion cash.
Man.
After the IRS takes a little cut, they happy about it too.
Yep.
They're like,
yeah, buddy. Yeah. Yeah.
About to get that cut. But earlier in the show, we said, be careful what you wish for. Out of the frying pan to the fire. What do we mean by that? Let's take a look at the new owners. So, Rick Schnell, Gabe Plotkin. Most people don't know a lot about Rick Schnell, but a lot of people know a lot about Gabe Plotkin because he was at the center of the GameStop hedge fund controversy a few years ago. In short, go look it up. But in short, his hedge fund management company, Melvin Capital, ended up having to essentially shut down and pay back all of their investors nearly $8 billion in capital because of what happened.
Right.
And that was of his own money. He had to pay them out. In fact, he probably still owes some of those investors.
Right.
Forbes said that over the last 2 years, he has lost $460 million of his own money.
Ouch.
Okay? So if you think Michael Jordan is cheap, how cheap a guy
who's lost about $500
billion, how he ain't gonna be keen to signing no checks. And one of the reasons I say this is because they've actually been minority owners of the Hornets since 2019.
Right.
I think that was a purely an investment move. They saw the valuation of NBA teams shooting up. And they saw 2019, that was a good way to get in for cheap, make a good investment. And now he can continue to expand that investment by being a majority owner.
And Kaiser, let me cut you off and take the conversation in this direction really quickly, because one of the criticisms of Michael Jordan, and I want to make it clear, that this particular criticism was never it was never verified, but I'm not saying there's no validity to it. I want to be very clear about that. One of Michael Jordan's criticisms was, well, he didn't invest in scouting departments and And there was some smoke around whether he wanted to retain Kenny Atkinson's coaching staff and pay more money for that type of stuff. That was one of the narratives about Michael Jordan. Like, he didn't invest the money in the some of the small stuff that he should have invested money in. But it makes me wonder, and it just makes me wonder, with them already in place of being minority owners, why was that never a step that they took? Because me and you have always stated Michael brought them on to help him with that stuff, right?
Right, yeah.
So why was it never, if this was truly a thing, if that was truly a thing, right? Why didn't we see investments from these two very rich guys in that regard?
Well, because they was losing money.
Somebody help me answer that question.
I don't know. And plus, we talked about this on the High Hoops podcast, but I don't know if those guys if they're basketball
They're
guys.
not basketball. I'm telling you right now, they're not. They're not basketball guys. I can tell you right now.
Remember, I don't know if you guys remember when the NBA, I'm talking like, it seemed like the day after the Hornets left, the NBA made an announcement that they were expanding the NBA to one city, and they were like, Charlotte. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Right.
All right. So then but at the time, there was no team made. They just said, we're going to give Charlotte a team, and y'all got 2 seasons to get it ready.
Right.
So there were 2 ownership groups that were competing. One was Bob Johnson, obviously. Do you remember who the other one was?
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. So
yeah,
everyone wanted Larry Bird to be the owner.
Right.
Even though we knew it would be historic for Bob Johnson to own the team because he would be the first African American owner in any major professional sport. But we knew that Larry Bird, being a basketball guy, would be better for the team.
Right.
And ultimately, it came down to money. Bob Johnson was a billionaire.
Yep. And that Larry Bird group were millionaires.
Yep. And so the NBA gave the team to Bob Johnson. And sometimes I think about, man, would our trajectory had been different if we'd had Larry Bird, who actually ended up being a pretty decent coach.
Yeah.
In front office guy in the NBA.
I actually think he was a really good coach.
Yeah,
he just didn't have the patience to do it. Right, but I thought he was a really good coach, though.
So I said that to say, here we are now again with a businessman running the team
instead of a
basketball guy.
Guys,
I know what people say. Well, Michael Jordan was a basketball guy. No, Michael Jordan was the basketball guy.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, I'm interested to see. Everyone's interested, but like, are the decisions that they're going to make, the new owners are going to make, are they going to be basketball, or are they going to be completely hands off? Are they going to hire a new GM whenever Mitch is done and say, you know what?
No, listen, they should be completely hands off because, again, nothing in their background suggests that they're basketball guys. The closest thing you could get to is Rick Snell being associated. He was a minority owner with the Hawks already, but that's the closest you can get to them being basketball guys. I want to kind of get into this now because, again, everybody's looking forward to what's going to happen going forward. Just to keep it short, I don't think anything changes this summer because we're not even going to get to the official sale of the team to July anyway. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So nothing's going to really change as far as anything the Hornets want to do this particular offseason. Now, going into next season, to keep it very short and simple, I'm going to say this again. Mitch Kupchak, lame duck GM. Steve Clifford, lame duck coach. I think if they don't knock it out the park, and I'm talking about not only go to the playoffs, but win a series and go far, which I don't project them to do, they're gone.
I don't think Mitch would want to stick around anyway after Jordan leaves. Mitch has done what he came here to do,
right?
Build a solid core that we did not have with the previous regime.
I'm pretty sure he's okay riding off into the sunset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, they bring in, although a lot of people feel like, man, okay, we got to bring in some young blood GM. I don't know. We did that before and it didn't quite work out. We brought in the Rich Cho. I don't know if y'all remember. He was like the hottest commodity.
No, but because Michael Jordan was making all those decisions, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Michael Jordan built that damn computer program that drafted Michael Kidd Gilchrist. Remember that? Remember when Rich Cho really tried to build a damn computer program to scout out college players? Am I the only one that remembers that?
Maybe that was.
Oh my God. Anyway, sorry, man.
I don't know. I don't think that the new ownership, like the needle's gonna move all that much. At least not this.
Not
season.
yet. Not yet.
Next season, and particularly if Mitch does depart, then okay, well then ownership will finally have to make some big decisions.
Right. Like I'm gonna say this again, man. I think if you look at the two minority owners, I'm sorry, what will be the majority owners, Rick Snell is closer to the basketball guy than Gabe Plotkin is. So it wouldn't surprise me if Snell looks at the Hawks or any personnel from the Hawks to say, all right, you guys have experience doing this. Why don't you come on over to Charlotte and let's try it here? So something to maybe look out for. Maybe.
Is that the standard of the Atlanta Hawks?
Low bar, bro.
Hey, but they made a conference finals.
What, 10 years ago?
Well, they made twice. They made it a few years ago. Okay. And then they've been in the play-in ever since with the same team. How the hell does that work? How do you go from the conference finals to the play? Actually, they got a better team. They got DeJounte Murray.
After you traded for DeJounte Murray, and you're still in the same place. But, hey, I'm just hating.
I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on with the NBA nowadays. An 8th seed just ran through the Eastern Conference and got beat by that dude at the Y.
Right.
Who
but you know what, Kaiser? That should actually be in all seriousness, that should actually be very encouraging for Hornets fans, man. Quite honestly. You know what I mean? Because and I'm not gonna go too far in this, but last time we recorded, I mentioned how the CBA is going to kind of really prevent these teams from loading up on superstars. It's also going to prevent OKC from stockpiling first-round picks. So you're really going to have to build a team, quite honestly, the way that the Hornets are building their team. I know people are looking at me like, y'all are crazy. We sucked last year, blah, blah, blah. Hey, don't take my word for it. We'll see. We'll see it play out to fruition, man.
It will.
Yep.
It'll be because Michael Jordan sold the team.
Yeah, because that's it. That's all that need to happen. We don't need to talk about all this. Michael sold. It's all good. It's all good.
Championships will rain down from the heavens. By the way,
J. Cole is going to bring us the free agents, man. Yeah.
J. Cole here. What's that, bro? KD right now. Right now, KD is like,
LeBron and his son looked at J. Cole and they said, I'm coming to Charlotte. That's sarcasm, by the way, y'all.
Yes, there seems to be this narrative that J. Cole is going to be the one to bring free agents to Charlotte, even though previously we could not. But that's kind of a weird narrative. I'm going to just name some names here.
Yep.
Al Jefferson, Lance Stevenson, Courtney Lee, Jeremy Lin, Kelly Oubre, Gordon Hayward.
Yep.
Those are all free. They were all free agents.
But Kaza, you and I both know that's not the type of free agents the fans are looking for. We know that. We're looking for names, buddy.
We need Russell Westbrook.
We need
James
names.
Harden,
we need names, man. Hey, real quick, man. Drill is he said Bob Myers, please. Now I want to address that real quick. Would I like Bob Myers here? Absolutely. However, and look, I don't know this for sure. Not like I talked to Bob Myers or nothing like that. But part of me just thinks he wants to take a break from basketball. I mean, because why else would you quit a job like that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Unless you know your team is probably on the way to not being very good. But that's another story for another day. But either way, I just think Bob Myers is probably looking to be away from basketball or take a higher position, maybe, possibly. Would I like him in Charlotte? All day. I don't know if that's a realistic possibility, man. I'll just keep it at that. At least not right now.
This is a weird question. Before we get to the draft, James Borrego was hired as a associate head coach.
That can be possible because I was told he was never going to work in the NBA again.
So let me explain before I get to the rest of my question what an associate head coach is. Associate head coach.
It basically means the head coach better watch his ass.
Associate head coach is the head coach. It is. You have the same duties and responsibilities as the head coach. You just that only one of you is going to be the guy in the game calling the timeouts and whatnot. So an associate head coach position is very perilous for your current head coach. So I said that to say Would you, if you're Borrego, would you come back? If the new ownership offered you to come back, would you come back? Let's say Mitch is gone. Mitch retires. Jordan's not the owner anymore. And new guys are like, hey, you know what? We made a mistake letting you go all those years ago.
Right.
Why don't you come on back?
That depends on why he was let go in the first place. Because here's why. Because rumor has it, and these are rumors, I don't think anybody really knows the real reason why Borrego got fired. But rumor has it is that him and Mitch didn't particularly see eye to eye. Me and you have always alluded to the point where, you know, we don't think Mitch liked being called out
publicly,
about accurately
about the roster, the center position. Yeah.
Right. I don't think he particularly liked being called out by JB about not having a center for 3 years, which is damn accurate, right? So going back to the question, I think it comes down to why he was let go in the beginning. Now, there was also rumors about players' exit interviews. Now, if that's the case, if it did come down to the players, you're not going to come back to the same roster, essentially.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, you're not going to come back to the same guys who hate you. But as far as the basketball situation and a team who, unpopular opinion, a team who does have a good direction, in a heartbeat. Hell yeah. In a heartbeat.
Very interesting.
Very.
Very interesting. Because I think, the Hornets are going to have to make a head coaching change probably
soon.
After this next season. And all of the names will have been taken up by them. They'll all have jobs.
Well, there's still some names out there who don't have jobs. Nate McMillan doesn't have a job.
Okay, Nate McMillan.
Mike Budenholzer doesn't have a job right now.
He'll have a job. Mike Budenholzer will have a job.
I agree, but however, maybe not going into this season, he might not have a job. You understand what I'm saying?
See, we've talked about how unfair it would be to fire Steve Clifford right now. But for Mike Budenholzer, I don't blame Mike Budenholzer for what happened in the playoffs.
There's a lot of people that do. I'm not saying I disagree with you.
The guy won you a championship. There's no loyalty in the NBA.
No, see, but there's a bigger point. I'm so glad you brought that up because there's a bigger point here. I was talking to our friend Danny today, right? And his opinion was Mitch Kupchak would have been fired by any other team. And I'm like, so we're jumping off the Mitch Kupchak boat that fast? And here's the point I'm trying to make. No loyalty in the NBA. It feels like every team wants what they want within 3 seasons. And I don't feel like that's realistic. You understand what I'm saying? I don't feel like Mike Budenholzer has one bad season. It's like, all right, we're gonna move on. We're fine.
Yeah.
Like there's no patience.
Imagine if the Heat had fired
Imagine if the Heat lost their other play-in game. What kind of conversations we'd have about Eric Spoelstra, who is regarded as one of the best coaches ever, right?
So actually, this is a great segue into the next section about the draft.
No, by the way, hell no to Doc Rivers. Sherrod, I love you, bro, but nah, I'm good. Nope. Sorry.
I'm off of Mark Jackson as well. There's a reason he hasn't coached in like 10 years.
There's a reason Mike Brown got hired over him for the Sacramento Kings job.
Mike Brown's
killing out there too,
coach,
man.
Right?
Yeah, man.
So a report came out today that Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller have been called back to Charlotte.
Second
workouts and interviews.
Wow.
When was the last time
I've never heard of that.
Also, both Scoot and Miller had been asked to personally meet with Michael Jordan. I don't ever remember before a draft the Hornets ever requesting a player to talk to Michael Jordan.
Same.
This is
not
big.
During this process.
The Hornets realized you got to hit on this pick. So a little bit of draft history. Only 5 times in the last 40 years have all 3 top 3 picks from any one draft class made an all-star team. Only 5 times has it happened. So historically, one of the top 3 picks
are going to miss.
They're going to miss.
Right.
They're going to be a miss.
And the Hornets like, we've had enough misses.
Yep. So this whoever you get has got to be the guy, right? Now, I'll say this. whoever they pick comes into a great situation. A really, really great situation. This is the best situation for a rookie. You go to a team that only picked where they picked because of injuries, really.
Right. Let me cut you off because somebody's going to be like, what? They're coming into a great situation? How? I'm going to keep it real short and sweet, y'all. It ain't the Spurs situation right now. It ain't the Rockets situation right now. You can compare it to the Blazers because the Blazers is a pretty good situation too.
Portland's a real good
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But this ain't Detroit. You know what I mean?
Right.
This ain't some rookie going into like just NBA Siberia right now. There's some good vets on this team. Again, we're not having these discussions if everybody's healthy, in my opinion. So, yeah, it is a good situation.
So, I think that whoever they draft will end up being a key piece for the Hornets.
To take the next step.
Yes.
Yeah.
But one of those guys is going to be really, really good.
Right.
It's either going to be Scoot or Miller. And the Hornets got to make sure
they get the right guy.
The right guy.
So, I got to ask you, you know what's coming, man. Now, we were both on the Brandon Miller train for a while.
Right. The day after.
Yep. Kaiser, I have converted. I am a man who has a right to change my mind. I am on the Scoot train now, bro. And I'll tell you why I'm on the Scoot train. I'll give you my breakdown. You know I'm a reasonable guy. I'm going to tell you why. I watched some tape, okay, and look, YouTube highlights don't tell you everything. I'm smart enough to know that. But what jumps out at me when I look at Scoot is the raw athleticism this dude has. The NBA body, the explosiveness, the ability to get to the basket whenever he wants to. I'm looking at that, and the knock on him is, he's not that great of a shooter. I'm looking at YouTube clips and Instagram pictures of him working out with Steph Curry. You think that man can't learn how to shoot? You think he's the first guard in history who's coming into the league not that great of a shooter but can turn himself into one? Kemba Walker?
Yep.
Hello? I'm looking at that and I'm saying, man, you go with that. I think it's a better what's the word we're looking for? I think you can mold him into a superstar talent. Superstar. Let me be very clear. Superstar talent. He can be molded into that. What concerns me about Brandon Miller? Number one, Brandon Miller is a better fit here. I'll be very clear about that. I do believe Brandon Miller, basketball-wise, is a better fit because we need a long, lengthy, rangy wing guy, right? His skill set is off the chart. He can shoot, he can dribble, shoot, pass, dribble. That's the three basic things you want. That's the three basic things you want out of your wing player. He can do that. But what concerns me, number one, is the lack of athleticism, the lack of explosiveness in comparison to Scoot.
Yes.
And also the off-court stuff, right, which I ain't going to get into today.
We've already discussed
We've discussed that at length already. And I don't know if I want to pair that with these knuckleheads on the team already. So that's my case, man.
I, too, am on the Scoot bandwagon, but caution. I'm like hanging off of it. Like the bandwagon's going, I'm like this.
You don't know if you want to.
And I'll tell you why.
Right.
I did the same thing. I went and watched some tape. And if you look at the tape, Scoot is the guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's already got an NBA body, which is a big thing that gets underrated. He don't have to grow into being Scoot. You seen this guy? This guy.
Yeah, no, he's ready already.
He's ready
in that regard, yeah.
Not to mention the athleticism and the attitude. I love that attitude. I could see him being like Mamba mentality, right?
Yeah.
I'm going. It's 5 a.m. I'm going to the gym.
Right.
I can see he's not going 5 a.m. He will not be in a parking deck, passed out, drunk, with a bag of Doritos. Right.
He ain't getting kicked out of a UConn game.
Right.
Yeah.
But
what's the but?
You ever seen someone so good at something that it looks effortless?
That looks easy.
And almost to the point where they don't even look like they're that good at it.
That's a damn good point, Kyle.
That's Brandon. That's Brandon Miller.
I'll give it to you.
The tape on Brandon Miller, he's just effortless. The handles, the shot.
It can come across as, but
that's what I'm saying. It looks like Kevin Durant is not an explosive player, right? Because he's so nonchalant about he just
because it comes easy to him.
He gonna hit you with the in out, step, shoot, and he out. I'm not saying that Brandon Miller is Kevin Durant, but when I see him, it's just like the game is very easy
to him. I get that. I understand. That's a damn good point, guys.
I feel like when I watch Scoot, he's
100%.
Yes,
all the
time.
time.
He's got to give that effort, right?
Right.
Because he's a small combo guard, he's got to work harder to get to the lane. He's got to rely on his athleticism. Brandon Miller doesn't need to be athletic because
his skill level is so high.
Exactly. So it's like, ooh, and that's why I think the Hornets see that too. That's why they're like, come back for another word.
Listen, I'm gonna make you laugh with this comparison. You know what, Brent? Okay, there are two players Brandon Miller could be. You ready? You ready for this?
All right.
He can either be Kevin Durant, okay, or he can be Michael Beasley. Remember Michael Beasley? Do you know why I'm bringing up Michael Beasley? Because it's the same thing I see with Michael Beasley. Highly skilled, right? Yeah. There was nothing Michael Beasley couldn't do skill-wise.
Absolutely.
He could shoot. He could get his own shot. He could create all of that stuff. But when he got to the NBA, he was just a guy. Yep. He had flashes, but Michael Beasley never ended up being like this superstar guy.
This takes me to my next point. And this is going to ruffle a lot of feathers. The best player available is bullshit. It's a myth.
Explain your point.
Was Steph Curry the best player available? Yeah. Did he get drafted BP? No, obviously not. He was drafted. Fucking Ricky Rubio was drafted.
And Johnny Flynn.
But
back to back, sir.
Yep, before Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Was Nikola Jokic. The Denver Nuggets didn't even think Jokic was BPA.
Right.
They drafted Yusuf Nurkic before him in the same draft. They didn't even think do you think the Spurs took Kawhi Leonard because he was BPA or because he fit in their system?
And speaking to the Spurs real quickly, I've heard Greg Popovich speak about that in particular. He said what they do. He said the secret to their draft success is he said the same thing you just said, basically. He said they look at guys who fit their system and their culture, and what does it do? It takes away the guesswork.
It does, yes.
Exactly.
I think as great as Kawhi Leonard is, he goes in any other team. He's not Kawhi Leonard.
He's not Kawhi Leonard.
And
look, and to your point, not to cut you off, but to your point, when they got to the finals, Greg Popovich had to yank Kawhi Leonard and say, "You are the best player on this team." You understand what I'm saying? He gave him that confidence to be that guy.
So I'm not saying that. A lot of people are saying Scoot is BPA, so draft him. I don't.
It's a simple logic.
I get that, but the thing is if the Hornets don't have a system. Let's be real there, right? But what I'm saying is that
they do. It's shoot the ball under 20 seconds.
Could you if you have a system and you have a thing you're trying to build, then you want to put guys that fit that, unless they're like a generational talent,
right?
Which I don't care what none of y'all say. Look at the camera. Neither Miller or Scoot are generational talents. They may end up being superstars,
right,
but they're not like Wemby.
Right. They're not Bron, Durant. Like
Wemby is the guy you break your system for. You say, okay, we build
you build around
right. We build a new system around this guy. Scoot or Miller, I think you say, okay, who could we incorporate into what we're looking to do?
Yeah.
And with the Hornets, and here's what also makes it tough. I think both of those guys fit into what the Hornets do now pretty well. Hornets like to get up and down the court. They like to run. They like to shoot a lot of threes. And they like to, do crazy between the legs, alley-oop, off the backboard.
Even if you're down 15.
Right, yeah. The Hornets like to play NBA Jam, essentially. Right. And so I think both Scoot and Miller both fit that very well. The Hornets just have a very tough decision to make. For me, it would come down to the off-court stuff.
Right. I agree.
Because I think that shows mentality.
Now I will say this, and look, y'all can do whatever you want to with this information. Word has it that as far as Brandon Miller goes, not just the Hornets, but every NBA team has, dotted their, what do you say?
Dotted their I's, crossed their T's.
Thank you. Yeah. As far as the Brandon Miller off court stuff, and I mean, I guess to keep it short and simple, he's clear.
I mean, legally, but
right.
His decision making. I think Mike would speak to his mentality.
Right.
Like
which goes back to what I said about Mike originally selling. Is like, okay, I'll put it to you like this. Scoot and Brandon Miller are going into interview with Michael Jordan. Who you think is going to win that interview?
Oh, yeah. Mike's going to look at Scoot and be like, all right, welcome to the team.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And look, and to keep it a buck, like the Hornets need to kind of have that mentality going forward. Who loves basketball around here?
Yeah.
Who's really committed? Because we're looking at all the Zion stuff, which we'll get into very shortly here. But look at the Zion stuff going on. Look at the Ja Morant stuff. Look at all the stuff going on with young players. Look at the stuff that has went on with our players.
Yeah.
And if I'm Michael or whoever is going to own the team going forward, I don't want that anymore.
Plus, we know the media. If and actually, it's not a question if, when we re-sign Miles Bridges.
Right. The media's coming.
The media's coming. And if we draft Brandon Miller on top of that,
the media's coming even more.
Some Bleacher Report dude is gonna be like,
oh, they can't wait.
Yeah. So the Charlotte Hornets.
Look at the new Jailblazer South. Like some narrative is gonna be pushed. But
so I think it's just that, man, it's gonna really like bug me if let's say that Scoot is pretty good,
right?
But then Brandon Miller is
all-star level.
Then man, it's gonna
really suck.
Sting. Well, conversely, we draft Brandon Miller and he's pretty good, and Scoot is.
I think the Hornets would hear the worst of it if Miller turns out. If we draft Miller, he turns out okay, and Scoot becomes like the perennial all-star.
Scoot has got a little bit more hype coming out than Brandon Miller does. But rest assured, whoever we don't pick, Portland is going to pick.
Right.
So, this could be a Shaq Morning Christian Laettner situation. So remember that draft? So that was one of the 5 drafts in the last 40 years in which all 3 of those guys ended up being all-stars, right? But there was like a clear hierarchy.
Yeah, no doubt.
Shaq was the generational talent.
Right. Morning was the all-star.
Morning was all-star.
And Chris Laettner was the guy who made it one time.
Yes. Yeah. Chris Laettner was a really good NBA player.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
But he wasn't Morning and he wasn't Shaq.
Right.
And Morning wasn't Shaq. As good as Morning was, he wasn't Shaq.
Right.
That's this draft.
Yeah, I
you got
agree
Wemby.
with that.
Wemby's your Shaq.
I agree with that.
And then
we need to get the Morning out.
We need to get Alonzo Mourning, right? No Christian Laettner.
We can't get the Christian Laettner.
So yeah. So let's just go to the other elephant in the room and ride it for a bit. Reports are that the New Orleans Pelicans really want to move up to draft Scoot.
And there's a lot of smoke around those rumors. Yeah.
So of course, let's be clear here, Hornets fans. They're not trying to trade Zion Williamson. That's just what people are saying. Well, the only way they could get the number 2 pick from Charlotte is to trade Zion.
Yeah, I think they would, but go ahead.
I think they might would, but a lot of people are saying, look, man, if they want Scoot, that ought to tell you all we need to know.
Mm-hmm.
If other teams want Scoot,
right,
then we need to get Scoot.
Because nobody's this aggressive about Brandon Miller.
No, exactly.
Right.
If the Pelicans are willing to trade Zion Williamson or Brandon Ingram or whatever for Scoot, then that's who we should draft.
So, what you thinking on that? Do you pull the trigger on that?
Okay, let me say this. I don't pull the trigger, but I pick up the phone.
Okay, you got to pick up the phone.
You got to pick up the phone.
Yeah, you got to do
because
that.
Historically, the Hornets always get fleeced on trade deal. Oh, well, maybe not historically. Mitch has actually done a pretty decent job with trades in his time here. But whenever the media sets up a mock trade or some shit,
they're always setting up the Hornets to get fleeced.
Right, yeah.
Right.
We might be able to fleece the New Orleans. Let's say New Orleans says, we'll give you Zion. We'll take Gordon Hayward's contract. We'll give you a first and random dude here from the G League.
I have a hard time saying
you had to get all the board together and the coaches and everyone, and you talk about that.
Kaiser, let me speak on that real quick. I know we all know the stuff going on with Zion, and God knows we ain't getting into that today. Just go on Twitter, search Zion Williamson, and all the entertainment will follow. Okay. However, let's talk about basketball stuff, right? the obvious thing in the room. I know Rodney's saying something crazy, but anyway.
No, Swagger thought of the parties.
Oh,
that's right. Yeah, Zion can't come.
You want to talk about if the parties were wild last year, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to basketball.
LaMelo might be like, "Yo, we need to get Zion, bro."
More than one reason.
Yeah. Parties gonna be lit.
Oh, we couldn't resist. Anyway, of course, the obvious thing was Zion. Aside from that stuff, is the injury history, right? He hadn't played this much and that much, blah, blah, blah. My counter argument to that is when he does play, I'm going to say this again, man. Zion Williamson puts up 26 a game in his sleep. And what I mean by that, he makes it look so effortless. And he's still very young.
He's only 22.
He's only 22 years old. And this dude puts up 26 and 11 like it's nothing.
Let me give you an absurd stat. Only 5 times in the history of the NBA has any player put up a season in which they averaged 26 or more points on higher than 60% shooting. Only 5 times.
And Zion's one of those dudes.
Zion has 2 of those seasons. The others, Nikola Jokic, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's absurd. That's a dumb stat.
I look, I know the injury history is what it is, but if you're gonna sit here and tell me you don't get excited about LaMelo Ball throwing alley-oops to Zion Williamson, dude.
Here's actually this would sting. No matter how good Scoot or Miller is. If Zion Williamson goes somewhere else, because I don't think he'll even stay in New Orleans.
Same.
He goes anywhere else.
And finally
and balls out. First of all, y'all can't blame Jordan for that.
Yeah, can't blame Jordan for that one. Nope. Right.
No, but Jordan was the owner.
No. No one here. No, sir. Nope.
I'm just saying, you got LaMelo Ball, Mark Williams, Miles Bridges, and you still get a first round draft pick.
You still, yeah, right.
In Zion, that's a really good team.
Listen, man. Dude, you know that.
So here's my thing. No matter how good Scoot and Miller are, first of all, they're gonna come in as like 4th options.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real.
That's real. Time out. Do you want to go ahead and break the news to Hornets fans about Scoot Miller? Well, you remember what our man Josh said about Scoot Miller? Yeah. Go ahead and break the news to Hornets fans.
I'll let you.
Where's the camera? Hornets fans, y'all can't come through the computer and fight us, so I'm not scared of y'all. Scoot Miller ain't starting, y'all.
Oh no, yeah.
Scoot Henderson ain't starting, y'all.
They're not. He's not starting.
He's not starting.
Not if Terry Rozier's still on the team, and even then,
right?
If Terry gets traded, he might not start.
Scoot Henderson ain't starting day one.
None of those guys. Any of those guys starting. So no matter how good those guys are, the impact that they would have is not the same as if you had a healthy Zion Williamson. So I know what people are saying. Well, Zion's never healthy. And Joel Embiid did not even play his first two seasons.
Right. And look,
Steph Curry was never healthy his first 3 seasons. Steph Curry still wears. You seen them joints he wears around his ankles?
Yeah, right. Yep.
But you trading Steph Curry?
Hell no.
The Warriors had enough foresight to know, because it came down to Monte Ellis, and Steph Curry. Because Monte Ellis had publicly said he didn't think him and Steph could even play together.
Right.
And you had Monte Ellis was averaging like 24 points a game.
And then he faded into oblivion.
Where's Monte Ellis now with all his tattoos? Gone. Steph Curry, one of the greatest players ever
to play. Right.
Because the Warriors said, man, this guy is really good.
What if the Warriors said, you know what, Steph Curry's a little...
He stay injured too much.
He stay injured. We're going to keep Monte Ellis.
I'm just saying you pick up the phone. I'm not saying you make that deal.
Right.
Because I think another concern of Zion's is his mental state. Now, I don't even think... I'll be honest. I think he's perfectly healthy now. He came out and said that he was healthy.
So, Kaiser, that brought me to my next point. Even towards late last season, there were a lot of people who believed he was healthy late last season and just chose not to play. Which, look, I mean, if that concerns you, that's fair. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm speaking to your point of what's going on with him mentally that maybe he didn't want to play.
I don't know if I would say he doesn't love basketball, but the rigors of being a professional athlete are tough. You got to realize Zion, when he was in high school, had to carry this hype. He was going to be the next LeBron James.
Right.
And to come into the league, a young millionaire, Instagram models in your DMs every 5 minutes, and you're dealing with major injuries that he's dealt with since college. That's a lot. That's a lot for a dude.
Right.
And I remember I was watching, it might have been First Things First, but Chris Broussard essentially said, maybe he just needs a fresh start somewhere. And he even said that he thought this would be terrible for New Orleans, but great for Charlotte. I mean, he gets to come back home. He's around familiar. Sometimes that's all you need is familiar faces to find out what you love again.
Right.
It will burn me if Zion Williamson has a good season next year or the year after, and we had an opportunity to get him.
Specifically, if we say no.
Yes.
Yeah.
But having said that, this is all speculation.
No doubt.
New Orleans hasn't come out and said they'll.
And look, and I mean, quite, not to state the obvious, we're not going to really know anything until draft night or shortly before.
Draft Scoot Henderson
and be done.
And be done with it, and whatever happens with Scoot happens.
You know what my prediction is? My prediction is solely based on knowing how the Hornets operate. My prediction is that they're going to draft Brandon Miller and be done. No fireworks. Listen, I'm not talking about anything really basketball. I'm just talking about the way the Hornets are. They don't. There's been enough fireworks with Michael Jordan selling the team. There's enough
That's true.
Media stuff. They're going to go low-key draft night. They're going to draft Brandon Miller, and that's going to be it. No blockbuster trades. No nothing. No nothing.
Yeah,
and fans are going to
I agree, but I think they're going to draft Scoot. I think Scoot's going to be the guy. I think Scoot seems like a guy Mitch would want. Brandon Miller seems like a guy. I say this from a pure basketball standpoint. Miller seems like a guy Jordan would want.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I think Mitch looks and sees Kobe in Scoot some, which I know Mitch didn't draft Kobe. He was on the front office that did draft Kobe, however. And, and he had to deal with Kobe when Kobe was a problem child, which was it's a very underrated trait to have as a GM.
Yeah, no
to
doubt.
Be able to deal with somebody, with an attitude like Kobe Bryant, such a big personality.
Right.
So I think they're going to pick Scoot, and that'll be it.
Okay.
And we keep it moving, and
that's it.
That'll be it. And then Scoot is going to come off the bench behind Kelly Oubre, and fans are going to be so mad.
See Clifford doing it again, man. He ain't playing the young guys, man.
Yeah, they're gonna be so upset that Scoot is not.
So okay. So we didn't talk about Brandon Ingram. What are your thoughts on Brandon Ingram being involved in that?
I certainly wouldn't make the deal for Brandon Ingram. Not that Brandon Ingram isn't a good player, but he's not Zion.
Right.
And that's the only reason I even consider that is because I think Zion is
next.
There's never been anything like Zion, and there never will be anything after. I mean, the closest comparison you can make is Larry Johnson.
Right.
And boy, he was really good too.
Right.
Brandon Ingram, to me, I'm like, that doesn't excite me.
I got you.
Although that would be a very good Hornets team.
Listen, to be clear, I think it would be an upgrade, most definitely, but it doesn't excite me as far as, is this team going to go to the next level? You know what I mean? Like LaMelo and Zion in the next 5 years just excites me to no end, quite honestly. You know what I mean?
That would be – I bet when LaMelo Ball heard there was a possible trade rumor that Zion Williamson was coming, you think he didn't start – he went right to the gym.
Right.
And started practicing between the legs, oops and lobs.
Man.
You think everybody on the roster didn't get excited over that?
I know I would.
Do you think they're excited over Scoot Miller if you're LaMelo
Scoot Henderson?
Or Scoot Henderson? Yeah, you're not.
Let's talk about that real quickly. Let's kind of talk about that. If I am LaMelo Ball and I'm hearing this, possibly going with Scoot, how do I feel? You know what I'm saying? Am I worried about how this guy might fit? And
LaMelo Ball is so nonchalant about
everything.
I don't think he really cares who the Hornets draft.
Right. And listen, let's be clear. His spot on this team ain't going anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
But I think the idea of playing with Zion makes him perk up.
Yeah. Right.
But I think I don't think he really has a preference between Scoot or Brandon Miller.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Hold up. Best comment ever. I'm just praying for a healthy season. That's it.
I couldn't have said it any better.
Because if the Hornets are healthy, they'll have a good season, and I'll be happy.
I couldn't have said it any better. That's the number one factor going in the next season. How healthy can they stay?
How healthy? Yep.
God, I hope the new ownership brings in the new medical staff.
Yeah,
God,
new medical facility, new training staff.
Something.
Yeah, let's hope that they just no more turned ankles.
Yeah, man. If it's right, no more misdiagnosis.
Yeah, please no more of that.
God, man.
Hey, man, you got a shoulder contusion. Oh, your shit broke. My bad. Arm mistake.
Oh, you got some knee soreness. Actually, you need surgery.
You got quad soreness.
Quad soreness.
But you need surgery.
What?
How is this? How would they still have jobs? Okay, that's Michael Jordan's fault. I'll blame that on Michael Jordan. Why don't you fire those?
Fire the medical people.
I'll tell you this much. The Gordon Hayward misdiagnosis.
We forgot about that one.
I would have fired somebody.
Yeah.
We would have had a meeting about how this dude I'm paying $30 million for, you tell me he got a shoulder contusion and found out his shit is broken.
And so we send him back out there.
Yeah.
Not knowing his shit was
with a broken shoulder. How? Somebody would have to explain it to me. It's like, if you want to keep your job, which is not happening anyway,
right,
but you need to explain that to me.
No doubt.
So,
I agree.
All right, so that was Jordan's fault. So,
I agree.
Right.
So, yeah. Mark, negative mark for Jordan.
Good comment. I'm pretty sure LaMelo next year will be overjoyed for another lottery pick. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think we're this is it.
This is big. I mean, I feel like we say this every year, but no, this is critical.
Yeah.
I mean, this season.
This is it. No more lottery picks. No more drafting guys. You got to develop.
So
no more.
No
more of that.
Gotta say this here. If I hadn't said this already. So, all right. Because of last season, and I'm not going back to the whys and the whats. I'm not going back to last season, but last season obviously turned out bad, right? And Hornets fans have jumped off the boat completely. And listen, don't even try to fight me on this, y'all, because I'm on in the internet all day and I see the reactions about the Hornets and Michael Jordan and Mitch Kupchak. Hornets fans have completely jumped off the boat, okay? And I say that because, in particular, they got their wish for Michael Jordan selling. Hornets fans want Mitch Kupchak fired. They want Steve Clifford fired. You know, fans are being fans. Fire everybody. Everybody sucks. Fire, right? I say that to say, with new ownership coming in, let me take that back. Regardless of who is going to be in ownership and management next year, if the Hornets don't make the playoffs next year, everybody should go. Let me be very clear. If the Hornets don't make the playoffs next year, everybody should be out. However, the wrench in this is, even if they find some success next year, ownership might be like, we're still good. We still want our own guys. Something to look out for, y'all.
Be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for.
But, yeah, the draft is this Thursday. I'll be at the draft party.
I'm going to try to be there.
You're going to try and be there. If you see us, give us a pound. I'll buy you a beer. I might be too broke to buy you a beer.
Yeah, I can't buy y'all nothing. I'm sorry, y'all.
Broke as hell.
Yeah,
but
I'll
be there.
I can buy one beer and pour it in everybody's cup.
Yeah, we get a shot.
You get a shot.
A shot of beer.
I ain't got no money. I'm sorry, y'all.
What else we got? Shout outs.
Happy Father's Day, man.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Hope you're enjoying your day. There's no sports.
Yeah, no sports today.
There's not even any NHL. Well, there's baseball.
I don't even want to talk about baseball right now. God.
Congrats. So the Las Vegas Golden Knights win a championship in their 4th season in the NHL. So clearly their owner is the greatest owner in history
that ever owned anything in sports. Yep.
He's the
clearly.
greatest.
Even though I know nothing about hockey, he's the greatest owner ever.
Yep. So congrats to him
Whoever
in the city of Las Vegas, which it's it's a great and terrible thing that they won a championship, because that's just the narrative now that Las Vegas can support professional sports teams is going to grow, and the NBA is going to be last in there. The NBA is they're trying to find a way to get a team in Las Vegas, and
that that obviously negatively affects my boys.
Oh, Oakland's going to Las Vegas. The A's are going to Vegas.
Look, there's some people who will tell you, oh, there's some snags, and it's not a final deal.
It's going to happen.
They're going.
It's going to happen because so now you got this Vegas fan base, and they really do. I go to Vegas a lot. My daughters live out there. They support the Golden Knights because they
support the Aces.
Yes, they support because they're like the Hornets were out there. This is their first, right? Yeah. And so, but it just so happens that both those teams are pretty fucking good, right? So now you can bring the big boys in. You already got the Raiders there,
right?
Raiders are kind of NFL royalty. You bring in the A's.
You got MLB, NFL, WNBA,
NHL. And then all you need is Adam Silver gonna find a way. He's gonna find a way for. I'm trying to think who don't deserve their team.
OKC, they can go.
Yeah, OKC.
I'm saying it out of spite, quite honestly. That's really
why LA need two teams. The Clippers
can go.
Clippers ain't never really been.
They've never been.
The Clippers are an enigma to me.
They are. But they're in LA.
How have they never been better than they are?
Because they really had the worst owner ever.
Drell. The Nuggets, Rams, and the Knights all have the same owner. So he is the greatest owner ever.
Oh, damn! That's his team too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So clearly he knows what he's doing. Jordan Dunn. Yep.
Or maybe he just has a shit ton of money he can throw around. But
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right, Drell. It is the same guy.
Cranky, what's his name? Stan Cranky, I think.
Everyone hates him actually because he was the one that moved the
Rams to LA.
To LA,
yeah. So, I definitely know he has a shit ton of money. Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, on an NFL front, Bryce Young looks great in OTAs.
Wake me up when we get to the preseason.
I just want to play with them dudes in Madden.
My thing is just when we play, when we're on the field, avoiding hits from other teams. Wake me up.
And you know what? I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna go to preseason games this year, but I think preseason game might be hard to get tickets this year.
I think so.
People are gonna be excited about Bryce Young.
Yeah, they should be. I want to be clear.
It's gonna be.
Y'all, let me just be clear. Like, football is king, and everybody wants to talk about everything football. I'm the type of person, just don't talk to me until we actually play some games. I don't want to hear about this training camp and OTA stuff because it's just so overblown.
Yeah.
Because how many times have we heard, oh my God, such and such looks so good in training camp, and then we get to the season and we don't make the damn playoffs in 5 or 6 years. So I'm over off-season hype.
Remember, David Tepper was also a hedge fund manager who bought an NFL team, and we saw how his first 5 seasons went with the
Panthers. Be careful what you wish for, y'all.
Yep. So, also shout out to GMs calling the San Antonio. Stop.
What do y'all know damn well?
Quit it.
Please. Hey, what do you want for click? Hello? Excuse me? Hello?
No, those are like Hornets fans, man. We could have tried. No. Why they ain't try for People were mad we ain't try for Kevin Durant.
No. The only way we could trade up for Wemby is reincarnate Michael as a player and say, hey, we'll because other than that, nah, it's not happening, y'all. Stop calling for Wemby. Stop it, y'all. Stop it. Ain't no way. Lucky bastards.
Lucky bastards.
Man, get the big piece of chicken today, man.
Yeah,
Father's the big piece of chicken.
My doctor said no more fried chicken, so
that sucks.
I guess I'll die. Actually, I can't give up. And that's another thing. If Zion came here, there's Bojangles. Bojangles, we saw what happened with Al Jefferson and Bojangles. We saw how Bojangles killed the Hornets. Especially because they sell it in the Spectrum Center, too. So he was probably like, yo.
You know what? Actually, never mind.
Like, yo, Zion's like, y'all got Bojangles? Yeah, man.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Oh, well. Hey, but y'all have a great Father's Day. We'll see y'all next week. This is the end of our long, extended break.
We didn't want to talk about the Nuggets and the Heat and Bryce Young throwing the guys who are not covered. We just didn't We didn't see any
Eric
need to
Williams wants to know
record.
if we think the Panthers are going to build a new stadium.
Eventually. That's my short answer.
I think that David Tepper is going to squeeze the city for a new stadium.
Yep.
And the city will hate it, but they'll do it.
Yep.
And that'll be it.
It's coming, maybe not next 1 or 2 seasons, but eventually.
Because the city's going to say, hey, we just paid $88 million for renovations.
Right.
So
and y'all still ain't winning.
You still ain't won a goddamn thing, so do something. But rest assured, if the Panthers do well this season, which they might win the division.
Yeah.
Then Tepper's gonna use that as leverage. He's gonna come down and say, okay,
talks will ramp up.
I need my
stadium. Money.
We can put it on my land at Charlotte Pipe and Foundry, but you guys have to build it.
Right.
And then why don't they just let Charlotte FC have Bank of America Stadium?
I like that idea, quite honestly.
Just let them keep it. Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that idea at all.
Yeah, and open the whole joint up. Open.
I'm with that.
Or put skyboxes, or make the capacity smaller, and then put skyboxes up above the second level.
I'm totally with that.
He won't do it though.
He won't do that though.
He won't do that.
I mean, he got the money to build 3 of them damn things.
Exactly. Yeah. Imagine asking the city for money, like,
dude.
Michael Jordan's a cheapskate though.
Yeah. You gotta love those narratives, man.
I love it. So yeah, y'all have a great week.
Till the next time, y'all.
Have a great Father's Day.
And check us out on Buzzbeat Podcast. We will post it to the Facebook and Twitter page.
No, Hive Hoops.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but Hive Hoops
Josh,
podcast.
You can punch me in the face later. Check us out on the Hive Hoops Podcast, which I will post on the Facebook page and the Twitter page. Again, big thank you to Joshua who invited me and Kaza on the pod earlier today, man. That will post soon. And as always, thank y'all for y'all support too, man.
Peace, y'all.